I'm loving this Last Dance. I wonder what you feel about it, since you're all over it. And obviously, the people who I've been talking to, it's been about a year and a half or 2 years maybe since they actually sat down for these interviews, and now you're seeing it. Are you learning anything from this, Michael?
Yeah, and mine was much more recent than that. It was less than a year. It seems my time, my ability to judge time is sometimes off, but I think it was last fall. I think it was like, I don't know, October, November, somewhere in there. Maybe it was a little earlier than that. But I am Rich. And you know, I wasn't around it every single day. I mean, in the Chicago guys, we see Sam Smith interviewed, Mark Vancil, guys like that. They were around it every day. I was around it. And there were a bunch of us, you know, like David Aldridge, who you see a lot in it, and myself, and, you know, Mark Heitzler of the LA Times. There were a bunch of us who were around it all the time. And when I say all the time, I mean we dipped in and out. Jack McCallum of Sports Illustrated, David Dupree of USA Today. We were you covering the NBA then meant your sports editor would look at you if you were somewhere else too much and say, "I'm sorry, what are you doing there? Jordan's not there." And that's what the obligation was, the responsibility was. And by the way, who hated that? We all loved it. So it was great. But there are things, because I wasn't there every day. Like, I never knew that Phil Jackson was told directly to his face by Jerry Krause, "You can go 82-0 and you're still not."
Yeah, that's unbelievable.
I mean, wasn't that is that not a killer line? Like, who has ever been told that in the history of sport? And so there's some things. Yeah, there's some things that I just go, wow. And I knew I was looking forward to it. I said going in, one of the reasons I was so much looking forward to it was, yes, I want to see in greater detail the things I knew about or thought I knew about, but I knew there'd be things I didn't know about because I wasn't there every day. And I enjoy seeing that. It's fascinating. It's even fascinating the things that you know the second time through.
I know. And then, you know, I lived it on the SportsCenter set, you know, covering The Last Dance pretty much every night. Well, or at least watching Stewart do it, because he got all the Jordan highlights. There was no chance I was going to get any Jordan highlights sitting next to Stu. But just
what a shock.
I know, right? But I just remember, though, that we were talking all the time about how in the hell is this team not going to be kept together? At some point, Jordan's going to just come out and say, I'm coming back. And Reinsdorf will just tell Jerry Krause to stand down, and Phil is going to stay. And then it just didn't happen. And I'm wondering if you're, you know, I'm seeing Jordan sitting in a hotel room basically saying that he's done with this life, you know, how difficult it is to just be surrounded by this life all the time, sitting by himself. Was there any shot of keeping this team together now that we're watching this back right now, Michael?
I think there was, because I know here's why I think there was, Rich. The reasoning that Michael wanted to play. I mean, how many times have you seen him say to me, and quoting him now, to me, we should do this until somebody beats us. I mean, he said that any number of times. He said it publicly at the time. He said it privately at the time. He has said it. Certainly said it to me. I mean, I said it to him the last time I talked to him pretty recently, a couple weeks ago. I said, I still can't believe. I just said what you said. I said, I can't believe this. And he said, I said to him, would you have just not come back at all if I had some condition? And he said, no, you come back until somebody beats you. And this is just like the basic tenet of playground basketball, right? Winners got next. You don't leave. Even if you come back the next day, you got the court. Somebody else has to sit and wait. Somebody has to beat you. And I know that's the way he felt, because he's told any number of people any number of times. So I was hoping, I'm not going to say I thought, because by the time it went down, it was just clear that you have to remember, part of this is money. So it's always money, right, Rich?
Right.
I mean, there was so much money to be paid out. They were going to have to pay Phil an amount of money that they probably didn't want to pay Phil. They were going to have to pay Scotty, a free agent, an amount of money they didn't want to pay Scotty. And Michael at that point had gone from making like $3 million when he came back. I know they're going to get into that more, I presume. Yeah. But $3 million. Michael Jordan was making $3 million.
That's crazy, Michael. So the question then is, was Krause just doing Reinsdorf's bidding? Couldn't Jerry Reinsdorf essentially have said, you know what, I'm looking around right here. I'm seeing the United Center right now. We'd be absolutely crazy to do this. He's a sports owner of 2 sports. He knows what an absolute unicorn he had in front of him, not just in Jordan, but in terms of everything that was surrounding him and the ticket situation that was chronicled so well this past weekend. You know, like, so what's the dynamic here? Was Krause just doing Reinsdorf's bidding? Or?
Part of the dynamic you have to keep in mind, Jerry Reinsdorf at the time owned about 13% of the Bulls, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
He was not the majority owner. This is not like Jerry Jones. I mean, Jerry Reinsdorf, he had, they're major, not just shareholders. They're major investors, people who owned, reasonable percentages, less than him. But what did they want to do? And I know some of them, they're still there. And I'd have to ask him, but Jerry couldn't. I don't know that Jerry could just make that decision, make that call on his own where he says, okay, we're going to spend this amount of money. Because remember, when I mentioned the amount of money that had to be covered, Jordan was going to make, $30 million for a third straight year? Because that's what he got in 97 and 98 after coming back in 96 at like $3 million. So if Jordan goes to 35 or 40 or whatever it is, I don't know at that time that the others, Reinsdorf's partners, were going to sign off on that. Listen, I could be overestimating that part of the role in this. But when it was evident by the time we got to this that it was going to take some enormous rerouting of the thinking and planning to bring them back for a 7th time. And Rich, that would have been the year I really wanted to see that because that was a shortened year, remember?
Mm-hmm.
There were only 50 games that year. Was it 50 or 60? I think it was 50. That was 99 was a labor situation, and they didn't come back till late. And so you would think that the Bulls, more than anybody else, could have been just ready to rock and roll with a shortened year. And Jordan and a team that Krause was thinking was too old. How easy would it have been for them to get up for that?
No doubt.